All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, everybody, welcome to Just the Facts, Hotel Laguna. I am Paula Hornbuckle Arnold, CEO of the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce. It is our intention to help delineate fact from conjecture with respect to major projects, initiatives, and/or issues affecting our business community as well as our residents. Tonight, I've asked Vice President of the Laguna Beach Company, Hesti Honaker, and Director of Community Development, Mark Weiner, to join me to discuss the Hotel Laguna project. Mark and Hesti, thank you for agreeing to this question and answer session.
No problem.
The Chamber has been soliciting questions for about a month, and we have quite a few. I'm hopeful we can get them through in an hour. Let me remind the audience that in order to have had your question asked, you must have submitted one. We've been taking questions for over a month, and there was plenty of time to get one in the mix. But I believe that most questions are similar and they're hopefully all on here. Mark, Hesti, do you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Paula, for doing this.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Paula.
Great. So let's just start with the obvious. And I'm going to start with Hesti. How long has the Laguna Beach Company owned the Hotel Laguna?
We actually acquired the property in January 2019, and we have a 99-year land lease with Merritt Family Farms.
And what made you close the hotel? That's a question I got asked often.
The Hotel Laguna actually ceased operation the year prior to our acquisition, and unfortunately the closure was due to ongoing litigation with the previous involved parties.
Okay. And you know, this one goes to both Mark and Hesti. What has been done thus far, and why all the red tags? Everybody hears red tag, red tag, red tag. So the two of you want to answer that one together?
Yeah,
I can start with that one, Hesti, if you would like. So there were red tags issued to the site this past summer, and what the city found, there was work being done to the hotel, mainly repair and maintenance, some of which required building permits, some of which did not. There was also exterior work being done, some fairly minor work that required a coastal development permit. So since the red tags, we have been working closely with the Laguna Beach Company to issue all the necessary permits. It's been about 4 to 5 months we've been working with them, and we're very close to doing so.
And what has been done thus far?
you want me to take over that one, or?
Sure.
Yeah, sure, Hesti.
Okay. So we were really working on doing a lot of the restoration on that interior, restoring historic beams, the original lobby layout and configuration. And then there was a lot of certain accessibility standards that we needed to make sure that we brought it to current times. So we were working towards that, fallen planters, and as Mark mentioned, just a lot of deferred maintenance that we really needed to have immediate attention to make sure that we can keep the integrity of the historic structure.
And this rolls right into the next question. Will the property be on the historic registry?
Absolutely. We've been working with renowned historical consultant Robert Chattel. He studied the property for many months, and then he was able to do a complete report called the Part 1 submittal to the United States Department of the Interior. And based off of that, which was a 114-page report, it was accepted, and it automatically placed the property on the state's registry. And now we are working towards Part 2, which will take another few months. The property, though, I'm sure Mark can clarify, has always been on our local historic resources inventory here in Laguna Beach.
It is, and I do want to add to what Hesti said. For the work it's been done, they did submit a historic report for that. It was peer reviewed by the city's historian, GPA. Both historians found it to be consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards for historic properties. And that's really the national standard for how you treat a historic property that looks to ensure that you maintain integrity. So this has been peer reviewed by the city.
And you know, off of my question list, I'm just curious, have you received those inquiries as well, Mark, from locals, or is it just stuff that we're hearing out in the neighborhoods? People are asking about the historic registry and how important that is.
Yes, we have received questions about it, and I think there were some concerns that the work being done may damage the integrity of the property. But the reports indicate that that's not the case. And I've been out at the site firsthand and observed it. And in my estimation, the integrity is still intact.
Okay. I have also been on the site and it's beautiful. So yeah, I agree. It looks amazing. Okay, the building is currently could be considered an eyesore. What does it take for the building to be cleaned, pressure washed, and painted?
So I can answer that question. So there are standards for pressure washing a building. You have to make sure that you capture the water runoff so it does not discharge into the ocean. And our water quality department reviews that. However, we do not issue a permit for it, but we do ask that the contractor that the applicant decides to use, they consult with the city to ensure that they're using the best management practices. But there's no permit for pressure washing. And with regards to the painting, if it's the same color, if they're going to maintain it in kind, we do not require a design review application for that. We would want the applicant to submit a paint sample or color sample showing that they're doing so. If they are going to change the color, that would require design review and it would go before a planning commission.
Have you gotten that far in the process, Hasty? Have you decided what color the building is going to be, or are you still working on that phase?
We're still working on that phase, but a lot of that will come from the historical consultant and what his suggestion will be. And then from there, I'm sure it'll have to, if there is a slight color change, I know the trim color is not considered historic. So he had mentioned wanting us to change that. So once we receive that information from him, we'll be able to then relay it over to the team at the city just to let them know. And if there's that change, then the appropriate channels will need to be involved.
And then that goes marked through design review. And is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
2 times or just 1? For those of us who aren't design review savvy.
Yeah, just 1 time unless there's, changes needed and it gets continued.
Got it. Okay. Where are you with permits?
You want to speak? Yeah, I can answer that one first.
Yeah.
So we've been working closely with them. As I've said, they've been working with, the building department, planning, with water quality, with the health department, with fire. There's a lot of different permits needed to bring this together. So far, we've issued permits for electrical and plumbing work to the site. We've also authorized a list of items, maintenance items that don't really require permits, but we've still listed them out just so we can be sure what's separated between what needs a permit and what does not. So those, some of the stuff's been permitted. The larger items are still in the works, but very close. And we did issue a coastal development permit exemption that was appealed to the Coastal Commission. However, in working with the coastal staff, we're just going to take some of the items that we exempted and we're going to make it part of the larger coastal development permit that we're going to issue for the exterior work. So there is a path forward to this. We're very near based on my tracking of where we're at with the permits and with the various departments.
Okay. Hasty, do you want to add anything to that?
No, just we really appreciate the city guiding us through it. It is a complicated process because coastal's involvement and the historic structure itself. So they've been available to answer our questions and we really wouldn't be able to do it without them.
We are doing really well on time. So expound if you want on your answers. And I will then now tell the audience, since we are doing well on time, if you'd like to submit questions to paula@lagunabeachchamber.org, we may have an opportunity to answer them. We still have a fair amount coming up, but I just want to throw that out there. I have had many calls asking if the hotel is abandoned. Is there a way to put plants outside, on the sidewalk, make it look like that renovations are underway?
So I'll go ahead and answer that, Mark. Building is obviously not abandoned. What you see on the outside does not reflect, the progress that had been made on the interior. And Paula, you saw that. Some of us actually work out of there, myself and my team included. And we've just worked on the historic gallery wall, the new version. And we did try doing landscaping outside in those planters and had 2 plants in front of the door. Unfortunately, they were constantly urinated in and treated like trash receptors. So it just, after cleaning them constantly, it didn't make sense to continue replacing the plants. So we decided that once we're able to reopen those doors, we will go ahead and re-landscape and really make that presence for the property known.
And the windows, lots of questions on the windows. Can we wrap them? Can we get them wrapped for the holiday season? Is there an opportunity for the Arts Commission to get involved? Lots of questions about the windows.
Mark,
you want to answer that first, Hasty, and I can talk about the city process after?
No problem. So yes, we get those questions all the time. In fact, that's one of our biggest things too. We'd love to have some sort of graphics and window clings as we finalize the project. We had to wait through the last visit from our historical consultant a few weeks ago, and he gave us the green light that it's okay to do so. From there, we started getting quotes from different companies that specialize in it and did some makeshift graphics. However, we want to make sure that whatever we do is in accordance with what the city laws are, and we don't want to, again, overstep. So we have communicated that with the city recently, and are looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks should it all work out.
And from a city permitting perspective, the code's really silent on this type of design elements. The Arts Commission reviews murals. This isn't really a mural. So, we think it'd be most appropriate to take to the Planning Commission as a design review application. It's more in the realm of a sign or exterior modification. It's something that we would welcome if Hasty chooses to apply for it.
Well, we're having a window decorating contest for the holiday season, just in case you have any desire to get that done for the holidays.
We'll see what we can do. I'll work with Mark and his team, and I guess there's only so many Planning Commission meetings before the end of the year, but we'd love to do that. And again, we've always had that intention. We've had some incredible historic images and other images that really allude to the project as a whole and the updated concept.
Okay, what's the first public space to be opened?
Our intention and first priority has always been to reactivate that main level, right? So that's the restaurant, the bar, the terrace, the lobby, and of course the Rose Garden. The timeline is, with COVID and with, going through the permitting process, a little bit unpredictable at this time, but we're thrilled to be working with Chef Craig Strong and, with his amazing cuisine and, this incredible location. Hopefully early 2021, I'd like to say, and hopefully before, I don't know if everyone knows I'm, expecting a boy, so hopefully before the baby comes, fingers crossed.
Great. So that's the timeline. Okay. When will hotel rooms be available for overnight guests?
So the hotel rooms will be after, obviously, again, the priority has been the main public levels, and those are the areas that the community would be able to enjoy the most. The rooms will be submitted to the city. There are studies being done. There is a lot of work that has to happen. So hopefully in 12 to 18 months, but again, it really depends on the process and how we are able to move forward with the city and what Coastal Commission's involvement would be. And
this may be a premature question, but is there a price point in mind for hotel?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to even comprehend that range really, but as soon as we're able to make the progress and have a little bit more understanding, we'll make sure we share that with the community and get them excited.
Are there any plans to combine the hotel rooms to make a larger footprint? I've got that question through by several people.
There are, we've gone back and forth. Engineers and architects have taken a look at the structure, and for anyone that had stayed in the hotel prior to its closure, they are rather small rooms, but that tends to be the case in historic properties. So we're looking at it and possibilities of doing a couple suites and maybe some, adjoining rooms that are a little bit larger, but a lot of the walls are weight and load bearing. So we have to be very careful. And once we come to that, determination, then of course that'll be reflected on the plans that will be shared with the city.
Air conditioning?
Yes, of course.
That was a question.
That is part of the plan.
Okay. Please tell me the beach club is reopening.
Yes, we are fully intending on having that beach club reopen. Again, there's a couple different components to it, and there will be in the future an interior clubhouse component as well, but that would be in a subsequent phase. So what our hope and goal is when we open the main level after a few months, we'd be able to start doing day passes and being able to allow the community to be able to enjoy the beach club itself until a final plan and a program is put together for the memberships.
So you don't have a vision on benefits or cost or anything on that yet either?
We've been doing the studies right now, and a lot of our time has been spent focusing on how to get the property open itself. And then from there, as we've received feedback from community members, and so many people email me and my dad, and just so many people are excited because it was such a big part of this hotel for, I mean, what, it's 90 years now, right? So really trying to make sure that whatever is launched is suitable for such a unique place.
We are almost to the end, believe it or not. And I do have some questions that are submitted, but let me get through our prepared questions first. It was suggested on social media that you were awaiting a favorable city council outcome so that you can, and I quote, get all your variances through. Has the hotel asked for any variances? And if so, for what specifically? Mark?
I can address that one first. And so a variance is basically a waiver from the zoning requirements. There are no variances necessary for this repair work, the current project. And there is a coastal development permit, there are building permits, but no variances.
Okay, well, that clears that up, I hope. Many people would like to see the Hotel Laguna sign back. And I just got that question as we're speaking, and it was already on my list. Is that a possibility?
So I can start, we'd love to see it back. We get, people messaging us all the time. People stop us when they see us and ask about that question. And in fact, Robert Chattel, our historical consultant, has been pretty adamant in his reporting that the sign was a historic element and should have never been removed in the first place. So I do believe it would require some sort of variance due to the current sign ordinance, but I think Mark can touch on that.
Yeah, that's correct. So it would require, design review, sign permit because it exceeds the allowed height and dimensions. And it would require a variance. I just want to clarify why I said there was no variances. That was for the current project. And I anticipate the only thing that would require a variance about the larger project is the sign. We recently had another historic restoration of a hotel. They proposed to restore the sign also. And in that case, we applied a variance to that sign request. So it's very similar to what would be proposed in this case.
To try and bring it back to the historical nature, the original intent of the way the building looked. Okay. Hasti, is there a hotel in Laguna that you would consider a competitor?
Not really. I mean, the hotel is so special, given its location and its history. It's really a boutique hotel that, I mean, the demographic that we're, thinking will be coming and attending, the different spaces are different than the Montage and Surf and Sand. And while those are incredible properties, this one has its own, special place in Laguna's history.
Okay, I'm going to ask the last prepared question, then I'm going to go through my emails to see if there's anything else. Hasti, what is your goal, vision for the Hotel Laguna?
Our vision, after speaking to many people in this community, has always been to create, again, a unique boutique experience that carries on, the eclectic and artistic heritage of Laguna. We truly believe every element of it needs to be as unique as this destination, which is why it takes some time. Hotel Laguna historically was a place that brought locals, visitors, all kinds of people together. And we want to carry that tradition. So one thing Mo, my father, likes to say is he wants this to be like Laguna's living room. And I agree. And I do think that it has that location and that story. And I believe that many of the locals will be really happy to be able to come through those doors once again.
And having been there, I entirely agree with you. I had the honor of helping escort a group of Laguna locals that were on a walking tour and surprised them with a unexpected tour of the hotel, and it was delightful. So good. A couple questions, and then I'll go to the closing. I have one from John Spencer. What is the parking situation going to be? Will the parking lot continue to be used for the hotel?
Yes, that's the plan. Nothing at this time has changed. And in fact, the parking attendant that I think Hugh has been there for, like 2 decades almost, and he's still there. I do believe some of the grandfather parking is in place, but it's a significant size parking lot. And we do believe that it'll help accommodate all of the spaces in the hotel.
Okay, from Heidi Miller, is the hotel up for sale? Someone mentioned it to me last week, and I thought you'd like to clear that up.
No, that'd be news to me. This hotel is actually like my first child, and we're very honored to be able to carry the legacy of opening her doors. And it's an important part of my family, and being locals, we understand how important it is for this community.
Is the historic report now public information?
I haven't shared it. Mark, is that something the city would?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So anyone interested in receiving it, contact community development. We will send you a copy.
Okay. From Lewis Weil, can you elaborate on the storefronts and what may be public facing on the streetscape?
Okay, so
maybe he's asking about the actual stores, what is going to be bordering the Coast Highway.
So we're working on the plan, so nothing has been submitted quite yet on that. But the eventual goal that we'd like to have is the corner gallery space used to be a restaurant and a small, fun space, and it really activated that corner. And that's what we'd like to do. Again, that has to go through all the tenant improvements and the approvals through the city. But for that corner space, we'd like to take it back to what it originally was. Mm-hmm. And then for the retail locations, we've been doing studies on, they were very small, and it wasn't really helping the overall experience of the hotel. So we've been working on some sort of plan to be able to incorporate within the major permit that we're asking for that would combine those spaces and make a larger, like a larger gallery that's a little bit more open, that could be utilized a lot more than the smaller places that were there prior.
And we did talk about parking, but I got another one asking if there was any intent or a thought to go subterranean. And if so, is there a flooding issue? And I don't.
So we originally had looked at and done a lot of different studies, and at this time our focus has really been to do the restoration on the original structure. And in the future, time permit, who knows, but we've done the studies to see what is and is not feasible. But again, being that close to the ocean, it does take time, and we just wanted to emphasize what we're doing now is really just focusing on the structure itself, and there's no intention in the immediate future to do anything subterranean.
Okay, Guinevere West asked if you have selected a hotel operator.
Not yet. We have a great team actually in place already. We have a phenomenal GM who's been working with us as we've been working through the restorations. And we have Craig Strong, as I had mentioned, and a whole group of other phenomenal individuals that we feel, given that it's a smaller property and it's really can be locally managed. That's kind of the direction that we're taking at this time.
And we did talk about retail shops. Are you going to have the hotel run those, or are they going to be rented to the public?
Currently, our plan is to operate those spaces internally with the team we have.
Okay. Any more questions to the public? Because you have 3 minutes, and then I'm going to sign off here and make my last final comments. Well, I'll go ahead and close. And in closing, I would like to say to those who asked, and many did, what can members of the community do to help get this hotel open And my answer would be to be supportive. And remember, when you post things on social media, ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Keep that in mind when you guys are, when everybody is making inferences about projects without checking the facts. And I just implore everybody to do that. And that's our intention with these seminars and or webinars, I guess. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to host webinars, from all major projects that are coming into the city. So thank you, Hasti and Mark. Appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody who logged on, and have a great evening.
Thanks, Paula.
Thank you, Paula.
Mhm.